UNC is playing out of their minds after just destroying San Diego State in the first four, and this could present a real problem for Iowa State today on Locked On Cyclones.
You are Locked On Cyclones, your daily podcast on the Iowa State Cyclones, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Cyclones, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Shout out to you for being here every single day, making this your first watch or listen of the day. I appreciate it more than you know. Wherever you're watching or listening, be sure to subscribe so we can prove once and for all that it is, in fact, a Cyclone state. Today, we're talking about the problem that is UNC for Iowa State in the potential second round matchup of March Madness. Then in the second segment, we'll lighten things up a little bit and talk about the possibility of Iowa State making a deep run into this tournament, and how one former Cinderella story hero agrees with us in that statement, in that possibility, that thought process. And then finally, to round things off, we'll talk about Iowa State, the state of Iowa high school state basketball tournament coming to Hilton Coliseum and how big that is. Can't wait to get into all of that and more. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. And let's just go ahead and dive right on into it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. UNC is going to possibly be a problem for Iowa State in March Madness. Let's dive into their most recent game, and then we'll talk a little bit more about everything around them after that. First off, UNC destroys San Diego State in the first four game, 68-95. Now, that's 95-68 in the favor of UNC, of course, and this game was never close. It was 47-23 at half. It only got worse. UNC was the only one in this game. And it was ugly. I'm not going to lie to you. RJ Davis with 26 points lit up San Diego State. UNC came to play in this one. That is for sure. We can talk a little bit about these guys in this game. Of course, we'll look overall 52.6% from the field, 58.3% from three. We'll talk more about that in a second. 87%, almost 88% from the line. Another great statistic for the Tar Heels here. Not great for the Cyclones, of course. As I mentioned, RJ Davis, 8 of 12 from the field, 6 of 6 from three. This team is hot right now. Another statistic that stood out to me was Elliot Cadeau with 12 assists. 12 assists. That's unbelievable. Then you see Jalen Withers with 10 rebounds, all of them on the defensive side of things. And there were a couple other statistics that stood out to me. Jalen Washington picking up 4 rebounds in 15 minutes. Okay, that's a pretty solid ratio there as well. This UNC team is hot, and I did see some statistics talking about it. Let's talk about their last couple games, I guess. It goes back about 30 days since UNC got unbelievably hot after the loss to Clemson, 85-65. They rattle off a few wins here. Syracuse, NC State, Virginia, Florida State, Miami, Virginia Tech. For those of you counting along at home, that's 6 straight wins before losing to Duke, and then they pick up 2 more in the win column against Notre Dame and Wake Forest before losing to Duke in the ACC tournament. That was a game that if you were watching, of course, North Carolina had a very real chance of winning that one against Duke, who many are talking about, could they win the tournament this year? So you're about to potentially bring down a real national title contender. This team is red hot, and that is not a team Iowa State wants to run into. Of course, BYU of recent memory, another team that Iowa State has seen that is unbelievably hot, and we didn't win either of those games, so that's not a great look either. Let's talk a little bit more about UNC, obviously from beyond the arc. RJ Davis, 6 of 6. Elliot Cadeau hit his only attempt. Drake Powell, awesome name. Jalen Withers, both going 50%. Ian Jackson off the bench going 3 of 6 as well. This team shoots very well from beyond the arc, and that's a problem for Iowa State. Of course, this is now all of this to say, you got to remember, Iowa State will only face this team in the round of 32. They have to get past Lipscomb, and UNC has to get past Ole Miss. But if that is to happen, this is a real problem for Iowa State. I talked about this region and how easy of a draw it was for Iowa State. I don't think that UNC actually makes this an easy draw anymore. I think that this adds another layer of complexity, of challenge to Iowa State's run to a deep, Final Four, maybe an Elite Eight, whatever it is. You go from basically, it's not a gimme in Lipscomb, but it's the first round, and then you go right into UNC, who is unbelievably hot. This graphic from Twitter just shows how effective and efficient UNC has been over the last 30 days or so. Adjusted offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency, they are in the exact same category as an Iowa State, coming in at about the 125 offensive efficiency and roughly 98, 97 defensive efficiency. Iowa State closer to the 120 mark on offense and the 92, 93 mark on defense. Yet another potential problem for the Cyclones there. Now, there's a lot of noise around North Carolina, and should they have gotten into this tournament and all of that kind of stuff, it doesn't matter anymore. It really doesn't. UNC is in and here to play. Think of it like football. Okay, if UNC would raise their hand and say, "Hey, that's on me. You know what? We're going to forfeit our spot. Give it to a West Virginia or an Indiana, whoever deserves it more. We don't deserve to be here." They've played their game. Okay, they've played their game. It's like football. When you run the play after, was there a flag on that last one? I don't know. Well, they ran the play. Now you can't go back. UNC has played, and they absolutely dominated. And now there's no going back. They are in the tournament. And I do think that the chip on the shoulder of UNC is a major problem. We just gave UNC the ultimate bulletin board material. We gave them the ultimate fire under your butt. I'm sure they all heard, you don't deserve to be there. You shouldn't be in this tournament. There's other teams that are way more deserving than you. UNC is going to get wiped out of this tournament. And now they have a reason to play. They have something to prove. They're going to go out there and say, "Oh yeah, we don't deserve to be here? Yeah, we're going to show you we deserve to be here." And Iowa State is in the second, well, now third, I guess, game for UNC, but the second round of this tournament, right in the path of UNC making a real statement. And that's a problem. That is a major problem for Iowa State, in my opinion. Now, we did talk about Keyshawn Gilbert being out, and I think Iowa State will be okay, and all these different things. But Iowa State overall has kind of struggled in the second half or later third of this season with losses to Kansas State and Oklahoma State, quad 2 losses there. That just shows that Iowa State is 100% vulnerable. They can go down. We've talked about their ceiling ad nauseum, but their floor, you can't tell me UNC can't win that game. And the style they play, especially with the 3-point accuracy, very concerning. And the heat of this team is something you cannot ignore. This is not a team you want to run into. Okay, there's obviously levels you want to be hot in March, and UNC is as hot as you could possibly get, and it doesn't seem like Iowa State is in that same category. Is Iowa State still a great team? Yes, but you have to win the games in front of you. And as I said, regionally, I do think Iowa State got a relatively good draw, but everyone in this tournament is going to be very, very good. And now they just have to face another very good team early, and it puts them at risk. I don't think that there's any other. This is a very legitimate, actual problem, because whether or not UNC deserve to get in is no longer what we're talking about here. I mean, this is totally different conversation. They're in, they're here to play. Okay. It's not about whether or not they deserve to. Did they deserve to be SDSU? I guess they won by almost 30 points. They dominated. This game was never in SDSU's hands. It was UNC the entire time, and that's a huge momentum boost for UNC as well. This is not a spot Iowa State wants to be in by any means. This is very problematic. Of course, they have to get past Ole Miss, but I don't think they'll have a problem doing that. I really don't. I think they can totally run past Ole Miss, and then they're going to find their way either, I guess, into Lipscomb potentially, or Iowa State, the show, the team that this show covers. And I am concerned. I am very concerned. UNC is hot as they're playing the best basketball that they have all year, maybe even all century. Of course, that's what Iowa State would run into. And this is a bad spot for Iowa State to be in. I mean, it just is. UNC's got a lot at their back, a lot, like I said, just a lot of chip on the shoulder material, a lot of bulletin board material, proving everyone wrong. And this team is going to come out and play, obviously hard, because everyone's going to come out and play hard. But this just a hot team. You don't want to run into a team like this. Iowa State not looking great in that regard, but they do. I mean, Iowa State is still a very good team, still the 3 seed, of course, deserve that. And still can make a very deep run, and others feel the same way, not just myself, of course. We'll talk more about that coming up right after this. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Posting a job is free and simple, and within a day with multiple qualified candidates to choose from. Instead of hiring full-time, Upwork helps find affordable top-tier freelancers to scale my business efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com, to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Life moves fast, especially when you have a family. One day you're watching your kids take their first steps, and before you know it, they're off to college. That's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it simple to get term life insurance that fits your family's needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online right from your couch. You could be covered in under 10 minutes, and in many cases, no health exam is required. You can get $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day, so protecting your loved ones doesn't have to break the bank. Fabric also offers free digital wills and access to investment accounts to help you plan for your children's future. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. That's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. Iowa State, yes, will potentially run into some trouble against UNC, but very much a team that can make a very deep run in this tournament. And one thing I know for sure is that the opinions of others is very, very important. One Cinderella story hero is one we're going to talk about right now. His opinion here at Locked On Cyclones, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you don't remember Doug Eater, he was on the St. Peter's Cinderella story team, the one with the glorious mustache. That was an awesome team, of course. And I mean, obviously, the guy knows how to play ball. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the bracket he filled out. I'm not going to go through the entire bracket, but we are going to talk about mainly the South region here. He made some picks, and they are very interesting. In the first round, he took Auburn, Creighton, Michigan, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Iowa State, Marquette, and Michigan State. Now, I will say, kind of went a little bit chalk here. Only thing of any significance in the upset department was Creighton, and technically an upset, I believe, is 2 seeds or more. So Creighton over Louisville. Not really a major upset there. However, in the second round, he takes Auburn, Michigan, Iowa State, and Michigan State. Okay, so Iowa State moving on over Ole Miss. Now, we just got done talking about UNC potentially. That wasn't really something. He had it over San Diego State, Ole Miss's win, but neither here nor there. He's got 1, 2, 3, and 5 in the Sweet 16. Now, moving on from there, he took Auburn and Iowa State. Baby, oh baby. The rematch we've all been waiting for. Feels like it's been destiny since the beginning of this season for Auburn and Iowa State to tip off once again and really carve out who is the better team after that absolutely electric finish in the Maui Invitational. And I do think that this is a very real possibility. Obviously, so does Mr. Doug Eater here. And in that game, he's got Iowa State advancing. That's right. You heard it here first, folks, or maybe you heard it somewhere else, I guess. I don't know. But Doug Eater picked Iowa State to go to the Final Four, and he does have them losing to Florida. But I'll say this. This is very important. Iowa State against Florida. That's a 3 versus a 1 seed. Who does he have on the other side? Speaking of chalk from that first round, Duke and Houston, 2 other 1 seeds. What does that mean? 1 seed, 1 seed, 1 seed, 3 seed. Yeah, not 1-1-1-1. No, no, not 1-1-1-2. No, 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 no. 1-1-1-3. Now, you could make the argument that he thinks that Iowa State is just as good as a 1 seed, basically, from that, what we've seen in this bracket. I think that's up to you. You decide, is that what he thinks? But at the end of the day, he puts Iowa State in that same tier of play as those other 1 seeds we've talked so much about. And obviously, defeating Auburn, the last remaining 1 seed that didn't make the Final Four, on the way there. Now, I will say, maybe there is an element of potentially he's got a little bit of love for Iowa. He does have Drake going to the Sweet 16, defeating Missouri and Texas Tech to eventually lose to St. John's. I will say I'm looking. I don't see Iowa on here. Oh, wait. Oof, I don't think they made it. I shouldn't have said that. I apologize, guys. That's totally on me. Man, I feel bad about that. Either way, I don't know. Maybe there is something there, but at the end of the day, he ended up picking Iowa State to go to the Final Four. And Doug Eater knows ball. Okay, Cinderella story hero. No other way to put it. And he's out here picking Iowa State, knows ball, probably still plays ball to this day. I mean, how could you not? He's obviously very, very good at it. And I think this is a big deal for Iowa State. Now, I just got done talking about how UNC could be a very real problem for Iowa State. And that's not to say that Cyclone players watch this show. I don't know if they do or not. But Iowa State men's basketball athletes, believe it or not, are still humans. Okay. I don't know what TJ Otzelberger's policy is with, media and all of that, the phones. And I imagine that he has you can use your phone, I would imagine. I mean, they're still humans, right? And so I'm sure they hear some of the noise. Iowa State is, I think 9% of brackets have Lipscomb beating Iowa State in the first round this year, the highest of any 14-3 upset. It's the most picked one. Are you telling me they don't hear that? Are you telling me that they don't hear all the noise after the losses to BYU and the loss of Keyshawn Gilbert and all of these other things? I don't think that you can say that they don't hear them. Now, does that put a chip on their shoulder as it does UNC? I don't know. Only time will tell. I hope it does. But I do think that these kinds of, reports, I guess is a way to put it, are a good thing. It's some good vibes going out into the world that the Cyclones can see and be like, hey, you know what? People still believe in us. I know you believe in them. I know I believe in them. I talked yesterday about how I think that this team has seen kind of a regression from Keyshawn Gilbert, and they're going to be able to be fine without him on the floor. We talked about how well the bigs are playing right now. Tamin Lipsey being back. Like, this team can still make a very deep run. There's just a lot of noise around them potentially sputtering out quite early. And yes, I did just talk about that. I am very fully aware. That doesn't mean I'm not concerned about UNC. I still think that this region it's tough. It's gotten tougher with UNC, I should say. And so this is a good sign. Someone's taking Iowa State to go very far. I haven't seen a ton of brackets with Iowa State in the Final Four, especially after the Keyshawn Gilbert news. So I saw this. I said, you know what? I got to talk about it. This is kind of a big deal a little bit. Now, it does have a bit of a chalky bracket, but still the only 3 seed in the Final Four. There's no other way to put it. Cyclone Dave said it best. Doug Eater knows ball. Okay, that's very, very apparent. And so I do think this is something that Iowa State can use to, boost the spirits a little bit. You got to go beat Lipscomb, right? That's the first order of business, and then from there you find out what goes on game by game. You don't know who you're going to face until effectively right before it, unless it's between weeks, right? So are you going to face UNC? Are you going to face Ole Miss? I don't know. I can't tell you. But I do know this. They're going to be ready to play. They're going to go out there and do their best, of course. Like, that's what we do. We go out and we ball, right? But I do think that this good vibe was a very positive thing for this team to potentially see. I mean, he's connected to basketball, right? There's going to be tons of guys that are going to be like, oh, yeah, remember Doug Eater? The one that was, like, absolutely super lovable. Everyone loved St. Peter's in that run, and the mustache man. Yeah, he just picked Iowa State to go to the Final Four. And then Joshua Jefferson and Deshaun Jackson are talking to each other at the lunch table. Like, did you see that? That's pretty cool. That's a pretty good deal. So I do like the positive vibes boost from that. Thought that was very much worth mentioning, as there is a lot of talk right now, unfortunately, about Iowa State potentially sputtering out early. And I don't love it. I do not love it. I'm not going to lie to you. Let's get some good vibes out there for sure. Speaking of good vibes, we're going to talk about all the good vibes that Hilton brings coming up right after this. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? That is me every day. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you can stop managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery, and now I budget smarter and save more. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever, too. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Iowa State basketball is on a heater right now. That is for sure. Athletics in general are on the up and up. And we're not talking about Iowa State athletics here so much, but the place in which the basketball teams play, Hilton Coliseum. You're here with Locked On Cyclones, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And there has been news that has been broke that the Iowa High School Athletic Association and Iowa State University are pairing up, okay? Iowa State, the state of Iowa, high school basketball state tournament, okay, a lot of words in there, is going to be played at Hilton. Let's put it that way. Let's just get that out of the way. Now I can try to retrace. The Iowa High School State Basketball Tournament will be played in Hilton in 2027 and moving forward. It's a 5-year deal. Reading the press report here, the first thing that stands out to me is the Chi-Town mention. That's a great point. Now, if this is not an economy show, it never will be. I don't really know that much about the economy, to be completely honest. So I don't even know what I should say here, but I do think that's a good thing, right? Boots on the ground in Ames, buying things. It's like supposed to be good. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't really know too much about that, but I do know that getting rear ends in Hilton in those seats, very, very good for Iowa State athletics. Let's start with the fans. Okay, now this seems a bit unconventional. You're probably thinking, "Oh, Nick, this is an Iowa State athletics show. Why are we not talking about the athletes?" Right? Well, guess who cheers for the athletes? The fans, right? I'm a fan, big fan. All the fans in Hilton are what make Hilton Magic just that, magic, right? Now think about all of the spectators at these games, okay? Because this isn't just the state final, which that will be played here too, but it's the entire tournament. So every school that makes it, their student body's going to go cheer on their fans or their teams, and they're going to be in Hilton Coliseum. They're going to take back positive memories of their team winning or a huge pop after a big three to tie it up late in the game, even if they may have fell short. The memory of that is going to be associated with Hilton Coliseum. That's a great thing to have. You get to hear how loud it can be in there. You get to see Ames up and close and personal. I think this is a huge opportunity for Iowa State to show more people what Hilton is and what Ames, Iowa is all about. Now that will it's kind of a weird angle there. I'm not going to lie, because what does that do for the athletics? It's really what it does is it gets these people excited to come to Iowa State and to therefore come to the games when they are at Iowa State and add to the atmosphere, right? To pack Hilton and make it magical, and to pack the Jack, right? That's what you want from your fans. And I think this is a great way to get people introduced to the place in which it happens every single, week for sure during basketball season. And it's a sight to behold, right? It's absolutely, bar none, the best environment in college basketball. So if you can get a glimpse of that in high school, that can very much alter your decision making if you're picking a college. Now let's talk a little bit about the athletes, the one that you probably expected me to say first. They get to come to Ames, and if you win a state title, boom, immediately, I want to keep playing in that dome, in that Coliseum, right? But for these teams that they might not win it, but they have a few good runs, right? Maybe they play really well. Maybe they enjoy the crowd just cheering them on like crazy. It's happening in Hilton Coliseum. Those positive memories are associated with that building, which is very good. It's kind of like a little recruiting trip without the actual recruiting. And it mentions in here that Sheeman, the building right next to it, will also be like attached and updated. Obviously it's attached, but that's all going to kind of be a part of it. And so while I don't know what the court will look like, I assume that they're not going to have a big ISU logo out there, or they really need to put the Cyclone, the one where size coming out of the Cyclone, out on the court. I think they should just do that permanently. And really, I need to make sure I put that behind me. I'm noticing that that's not back there. I have Juicy Wiggle back there, but not the Cynado. Neither here nor there. I'm sure they'll probably have a generic logo in there, as they always do. But in those buildings around it, in the Walmart where all the Iowa State gear is sold, anywhere in Ames, really, that's going to be influencing these athletes for sure. And I will say too that the locker rooms, all of that, it would be a super, super cool experience. I know that I went to the Unidome twice for football in high school. And granted, I bleed Cardinal and gold. There was no chance that I was ever going to not go to Iowa State, but there was an element of this is really cool to get to play in this dome and on this field. It'd be cool to continue playing here. That could very well happen to these athletes. That is for sure. And that's the actual just playing on the court type of angle. Then you can talk about the memories. We saw a lot of success in wrestling and in the Wells Fargo Dome. Well, I guess that's not really considered the dome. It's the well. But either way, those memories that I have associated with that, I will never forget, ever. Okay. And to get to continue those kinds of memories in that building, no one's thinking about oh, I want to keep playing at the well. That's not a thing. You can think about, oh, I want to keep playing at Hilton. That's a very real thing. So that's a great thing for Iowa State to bring in some more opportunities. Now, yes, we've talked about the Milwaukee pipeline, and we recruit from all over. That's not unknown, but homegrown Iowa cornbread dogs are definitely out there. And I mean, they don't have to be state championship level teams. The winners, they can just come to the tournament and see Hilton and be like, you know what? I think this would be a great place to play. And for those fans, this is a great environment. I would love to come and spend more time here. I think that's a big deal. It could be a big boost to Iowa State. And it's not to say we're not having an issue with selling out Hilton. This place is packed all the time, but it's only going to get it. It's going to be a bigger deal now, right? So I think this was an absolute awesome move. 5 years is what I'm seeing, and let's just keep it stuck here in Ames. I think that Ames is a great place to host something like this. And obviously the magic of Hilton Coliseum is second to none. I'm thinking about it. It'd be really cool to get to go back. And now, granted, like I said, I was a wrestler, so I don't know if I would have made the team. But to get to play in Hilton Coliseum, that would have been so cool. It really, really would have. But I've cheered for Iowa State in the stands. And I can tell you, if I would have been doing it in high school, there would have been, not that there wasn't a doubt in my mind, but there would have been no doubt, 0% doubt, negative doubt probably, that I was going there, just because I wanted to get more of that feeling. And for them to be, to make this move, I think this is awesome. It just proves how important Iowa State is, that it is in fact a Cyclone state, because I don't think that they're playing the state tournament in Iowa City, are they? I'm pretty sure what I'm reading is they're doing it in Ames. So I think that is probably something we should consider, but neither here nor there. It's just a fact of the matter. That being said, dude, Hilton is best. It really is. Let's hope that defense travels for this Iowa State men's basketball team, because we're going to need it. We're going to need to play some pretty solid D in these first couple reps, really through the whole tournament. And it's here, man. It's March Madness. It is officially time. If you're still here and you aren't subscribed, what are you doing? I mean, it's free. Proven it's a Cyclone. Stay here. Until next time, Cyclone fans. Wow. Sayonara.